I knew that I wanted to do this for a living since I was a kid. I've always been fascinated with movie making. I wanted to be a producer, so when I moved here, I quickly learned that the route to becoming a producer is locations. A location manager takes a script and they break down the locations and they hire a group of scouts to go out and find these locations. We take the director and the production designer out to look at these locations. Then we deal with all the logistics. As a woman of color, I bring something unique. Central Park 5, I lived it. I was here during that time. As an African American, is something that touched my heart. I bring my experience and how I felt during that period, and what I saw dictated what I showed Ava and where we scouted. And you feel like your voice is being heard and your experience is being shown. And it's very few films that we get to show the Black experience. So you feel it's a treasure and a pleasure to work on Black film.
My role on Central Park 5 is a camera operator. I'm one of 3 camera operators. And what we do is help the director of photography and the director set up the scenes, frame each shot in the scene. This is my first time as an operator on this level of film. I've worked as a camera assistant and cinematographer / operator on a lot of indie documentaries and features and such. So to work in collaboration with 2 other operators and a DP, it's my first time doing that in this context. So it's been a great learning and growing experience for me. Every opportunity I've gotten has been because of that, somebody in a position of leadership just reaching back. It's very important to have people of color and females represented behind the camera because there's a whole army of technicians and artists behind the scenes that also contribute to creating that image. So many people have come up to me during this experience, people who've been actors and technicians for 20, 30 years, and said they've never seen a Black woman behind the camera. And that was a little shocking.
Before I got into film, people throw things, like a lot of negative things towards you, like, you don't need to get it, don't bother with it. It's not really worth it. Because, you know, there's not too many of you there anyway, and you're not gonna really work. But I found out once I got in, that wasn't true. I found my niche and people I liked working with and people enjoyed working with me, and I've always worked. Being African American, a project like this, you also bring your feelings to it. You have certain thoughts about the way certain things are done, especially something like this where it pertains to our people and the way we're treated. Not just in this one situation, but in general in this country. My grandma used to tell me, remember, you're living in the most racist country in the world. She says, we were brought here as slaves. They built this country off our backs, basically. And she says, we've survived, we will go on, we've always survived, no matter where we've been.
Before I did this, I wanted to be an actress, like, I don't know, everyone in the world. But I was like, I would be poor for the rest of my life if that's all I wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to do entertainment, but I didn't know what part of it kind of called to me. So I did like a PA boot camp. Like, I know if you have to start anywhere, you have to be a PA. So I did a PA boot camp, and they brought an AD in, a Black woman, and she just talked about being an AD. And I literally went home and was like, that's what I want to do. Being a woman of color, it has been difficult getting respect in a way in this industry because I look young, I'm a Black woman, and so people automatically have certain prejudices or think things about you. If I say something with emphasis or because that's just how I am, like, oh, she's sassy. And it's like, no, that's just who I am as a person. I'm not being sassy, I'm not being rude, that's just me. So it's a little bit of that everywhere you go as a woman. Even when I see female ADs, if they are hard, then they're a bitch. But a man does it, and they're like, oh yeah, he's tough. So it's always that.
There were like very little rules when I was growing up in Hong Kong. And one night I was outside and there was a film crew. And they were like, okay, you can stay up late, because they saw how excited I was. So they were doing a night shoot. and they let me stay up like all night to watch this crew work. And so then I was like, oh, that's amazing. And I was like, maybe that's something I could do. I've known Bradford for many years, and he's actually the person that pushed me to be a DP. I was his AC on a feature, and he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I really want to be a DP. And he's like, well, why are you pulling focus? I'm like, well, that's the kind of jobs I get, you know? And he's like, well, you're great at that, but hey, we got a camera, a backup body on the truck, let's shoot together. And he just kind of just gave me this freedom to create with him. Now people are very complimentary, like, oh, that camera's heavy, you're great, like, I'm so inspired by you, and that's amazing. But there's still like a weird like, oh, you didn't think I could do it? You need directors who want to hire women. You need people who don't see gender or race and just say, hey, this person's work is great, let's hire them.
I'm hoping that the minorities that are in the business just keep reaching out to other minorities and really show them how to maneuver in this business so they stick it out. I spent a lot of years trying to prove that I'm worthy. Just know your worth.